Facebook or YouTube or YouTube, whatever. Well, today is my birthday. You don't know this, or you might already know it, but I just want to tell you that today is my birthday, and I had a good day. It was fun and interesting, and I went to the movies and I saw Thor 3D. Thor is actually a very interesting movie. Besides the stereotypes it takes on the teenage stereotype, there's also the maiden stereotype. No, you can't do that. It has to stay like that. You can't change it. But anyway, there's also the maiden. Well, it's kind of like the girl. He comes to Earth, and the girl is wooed by Thor. She's wooed. She's overly wooed. Everything he does is all hail Thor. Even when he crashes a plate, it's you're not supposed to do that. And where are you from? You're not supposed to crash plates. Thor. It's kind of like that, But it's also the teenage girl, or she was probably in her early 20s. She was always talking about Facebook, and when all their stuff, all the information they had about the solar system got taken, all she cared about was that they took her iPod. And then later on in the conversation, she said, I was in the middle of downloading the 30 songs. Oh. And I'm that's a little stereotypical, but it was also a very good movie, because the stereotypes weren't the overused stereotypes. They were the actual stereotypes that were funny, the stereotypes of our generation, such as Facebook and music and iPods and technology. And of course, if you saw Thor if you ran over Thor and he was in your responsibility now, don't tell me that you wouldn't be wooed. So anyway, it was a great movie, and it was also good for the fact that I think the guy who played Thor, I don't know his name, I'm sorry, but he's a great actor, because when he was portraying himself in the beginning of the movie as egotistical, childish, he was a boy wanting to become a man. He thought he already in his head was the king, and made childish decisions and all this war without thinking ahead, without using his brain. You could see it in his face, in his body motions. You could see him. He was hard. Okay, whatever. He was hardened, kind of, and you couldn't see behind his eyes. You couldn't see into him, and he made you dislike him. And then after, I think the point he changed is after he tried to pull the hammer in the real world, and he couldn't. I think that's when he realized that it's not all about your physical strength. He realized that it isn't all about your physical strength. And also the girl softened him up over the camp, that little fire that they had. He got softened up. But my favorite character, I'd have to say, oh wait, never mind. Well, that changed him. And then at the end, you see him. He's so cuter. He's cuter. And he's softer. You can see him change into actually becoming dense inside. He was more, there was more to him than war, ego, or his own selfish wishes. He cared about other people, and you could see that in his face. He looked like a totally different person. I seriously believe if you took a screenshot of him in the beginning and then another screenshot of him at the end, that it'd be a different person. His character was great. But also, I liked the girl warrior, the first ever girl warrior, or whatever, the strongest one. I liked her because, girls are warriors. They can be warriors too. And then I also liked Loki. Loki was awesome! I don't care what anyone says. Loki was awesome. He was my favorite character, okay? Loki was awesome. There in the beginning, you really didn't understand, and partially because Loki was still a boy himself. But he was more mature than Thor was. Come on now. And you can't really blame Loki, because he was held. How would you feel if you were held from you that you were actually a frost monster? Quote, the monster that the parents tell their children at night, unquote, that he said in the video. How would you feel if you found out that your father, the king of, what are they called? Forget what they're called, but whatever, that you were an ice monster thing? No, that would, and then you would be hatred too. But he shouldn't have, but still, I still would take over vain, egotistical views of wanting to be king as in a traitorous guy for a good cause, you know?
Your phone might cut off.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm just gonna hurry and wrap this all up. Okay, after the movie that my friend Jasmine very graciously paid for, we walked around the place. I was looking and searching and searching and searching and searching for a fedora. I searched Lids, I searched the JCPenney's. No luck there. JCPenney has no fedoras. And Claire's, which they had kitty fedoras that were pink and crap. And I went to this guy, he was like Indian or whatever, and then I see the hats, and I'm like, oh, these are nice fedoras. There was between this black hat with a blue stripe, or this pinstripe hat, black pinstripe hat, with a silver belt buckle. And I'm like, oh, I want these. And then Jasmine's like, you know they embroider this stuff here. And I'm like, really? I wonder if they're embroidered hats. So I went to the guy and I said, can you embroider this hat? And he's like, no, we don't think we can embroider those. And I'm like, really? Really? It looks like it's the same material as a bag. And he's like, okay, well, yes. What you want? You want your name? And I'm like, okay, how much will it cost for me to put my name, Precious Thomas, on this hat? And he's like, oh, that's $20 extras. And I'm like, what? Okay, really? Am I that special? And he just smiled. And then I said, okay, how about if I want my initials? What if I want PT on that? And he's like, oh, well, I still have to charge you same. And I'm like, really? For 2 letters, P and T? And he's like, okay, well, give me hats. And he's like, what you want on this hat? And I'm like, I want PT on this hat. He's like, okay, and he started doing stuff in the computer. He's like, I'll give you a hat for $25. And I'm like, yes, that's what we're talking about. $25 for my own personal hat, fedoras, the nicest hats you can get that people wear with their suits and stuff. Personalized for me. There's not another hat like this that you probably could find. Personalized for me with my initials on it for $25. That's a steal in my opinion.
Are you gonna show it?
Huh?
You gonna show it?
I'm about to show it. Yep, there we go. But it's backwards on camera. It's gonna be like TP on camera because, you know, that's the effect.
Hey, Mama.
Timmy was supposed to get it. He's okay. Good.